to review the papers with me this morning is Rose Oranye, a journalist and public affairs analyst. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Let's begin with ABS website. The stories we have there. Anambra new police commissioner Abang assumes office, asks criminals to relocate. Anambra Fiscal Planning Board sustains demolition of illegal structures in Oka. INEC commences plan for 2023 general elections. Secretary to the Government of the Federation holds regional meeting with Southeast SSGs at Agolo, Anambra State. Stakeholders at African Anti-Corruption Day in Abuja seek collective efforts to tackle menace. NAFDAC bans sale of sniper. Those are the major stories we have right there on ABS website. Let's begin with the stories on security. Anambra new police commissioner Abang assumes office, asks criminals to relocate. Anambra has registered tremendous successes so far in the fight against criminality in the state so far. We now have a new commissioner. What will be the agenda you want to set for him as he begins work in Anambra?
Well, first of all, I have to say welcome to our new commissioner. Anambra has been the #1 state in security matters in Nigeria before he came. I wouldn't want to set any other agenda than to tell him to sustain the tempo, continue from where others have stopped.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have NAFDAC bans sale of sniper. The other time was restriction of its sales, and this time total ban. Do you think he's dealing with the issue?
That is laughable for me because if they ban sniper because people use it to commit suicide, would they buy the sale of ropes in the market? There are so many things. Will they buy people from going close to rivers? There are a lot of things that they have to buy. I think the issue is for Nigerian government to try to make the economy better so that so many things, look into those things, even in the education sector, look into those things that make students commit suicide because of one thing or the other.
The stress, the frustration. All right, let's look at Call the Tar now. On the front page of Call the Tar, n'iru akwụkwọ dị taa, UNN arụpụtala ụgbọala latrik mbụ na Nigeria. Otu nwoke na nwunye mmadụ atọkerela ka ha na-akwa iko. Ọkụ agbawala otu ụlọ n'ọtụtụ ngwongwo n'Ọnịcha. Gọọmenti Anambra ekwenwo nkwa ezi ọnọdụ maka iwunye akụ na ụba. UNN arụpụtala ụgbọala latrik mbụ na Nigeria. Ọtụtụ ndị mmadụ na-eto this step that has been taken by by University of Nigeria to construct the first electric car in Nigeria. But the question remains, we've seen several innovations coming out from universities, from skilled people. Last time that there was Science Fest in Anambra State, we saw different innovations. But the problem is, how do we begin to commercialize this? How do we make efforts to ensure that every of these inventions are getting to the markets? So what are we going to do to propel technology, propel innovation, shift our dimension from a consuming economy to an economy that manufactures?
We still go back to the same thing. We have to commend even our universities for what they have been doing. That's the essence of their being established. It is now left for the government to encourage them. When they get encouragement, those new innovations can be mass-produced, and we begin to make use of them generally and equally export them. So they need encouragement from government and many other things. A lot of things has to be improved too, apart from financial encouragement and other things.
Okay. On the front page of the National Light, we have EU rates Anambra health insurance best in Nigeria. Anambra seals trade ties with U.S. Orange City. AFCON 2019, Nigeria down South Africa. We also have Nigeria ranks 15th in global suicide rates. Just like we reviewed a few minutes ago when we were looking at the ban on sniper, we're seeing 15th in global suicide rate. That's a very bad statistics for Nigeria.
Of course it is.
EU rates Anambra health insurance best in Nigeria. I think this is also a positive commendation while we look for further decentralization, further registrations continue. So if you've not registered for Anambra State Health Insurance Scheme, this is the time to go do it. European Union, after assessing it, says Anambra State has set a standard, a roadmap, a blueprint for other states and the implementation at the federal level. Is there something else you feel that must be done to better this scheme?
Well, you've said it all. It's only for people. The government has done their own. It's only for people to enroll into the program and get the benefits. If the government, in their thinking, set up that kind of thing and we don't enroll, then it's of no use to us. So it's better our people get sensitized enough as we are just doing now and begin to take action.
Then the massive ones on the front page of the Daily Sun. Pro-El Zazaki protest spreads. Shites storm Lagos, clash with police again in Abuja. Gunshots as 60 protesters are arrested in the FCT. Beside the nameplate, Atiku versus Buhari results cancelled, mutilated to deprive PDP votes in the north. That's coming from witnesses. President should lose power to appoint INEC chair. That's coming from Jonathan. Edo crisis, Obaseki dares Abuja politicians amid anti-Godfather rally. Those are the major stories that we have on the front page of the Daily Sun. Let's look at these two stories before we run to the next paper. Storm Lagos, clash with police again in Abuja. We're seeing another rise in Islamic fundamentalism and maybe social fundamentalism, considering the fact that the leader of this group have been granted bail by the Nigerian court, but he's been deprived his freedom by the Nigerian government. What can we do to ensure that this doesn't escalate into another national security crisis?
I don't think there's anything else. The court has given orders. It is meant for the government to obey the orders. They have to follow the court's order. That's the simple truth about it.
All right. President should lose power to appoint INEC chair. That's coming from former President Jonathan. Do you agree with him?
I do, because it makes the INEC chairman feel that he is only answerable to the president. So if the power goes away from the president, the man will now become fully independent, and that's what it should be.
What will be your suggestion? Who do we give the power to appoint? Is it to the Senate?
Whole responsibility of the president.
But we know even to present that the president appoints and the Senate confirms. So who do we give the power if we remove it from the Senate? If we give it to the Supreme Court Justice to do that, we know what just happened recently, how the president removed the Supreme Court Justice. Is the problem actually in the appointment?
Well, partly because it makes the man there to have a mindset that because this man appoints me, I'm answerable to him. Yeah. So that is just the issue. But they can sit down, brainstorm, and decide how to do the appointments and make things
what will be
easier.
your suggestion? What the best approach to appointment to guarantee independence of INEC?
Well, if we want to just be truthful about it, the right thing is maybe they suggest names, they send it to the National Assembly, they approve. When you send the names, don't try to make them feel like let's just do it because the president is our man. Let them feel free. And
So
looking
the
at
independence of INEC goes a long way, or the independence of the National Assembly actually will determine how independent INEC will also be. Because if we know that we were told that lobbying is something that is even permissible in governance. So the president, if he still appoints or nominates, will still have that leeway to lobby the National Assembly.
So the way you are going, it only calls for maybe looking at reviewing our constitution once again to make a lot of things right, because things are not the same as they were when the constitution was made. Yeah.
Okay, so out of experience, we'll have to develop maybe a new strategy. All right, Daily Times. On the front page of the Daily Times, we have Africa losing over $50 billion to corrupt leaders. That's coming from EFCC. So solicits support of CSOs, trade unions for mass education against graft. Daily Times, beside the nameplate there, Discos need $4.3 billion to improve power supply, coming from the transmission company of Nigeria. Presidential poll INEC cancelled results in PDP strongholds in Kaduna, Borno. Ministerial list not with us, Senate affirms. We have other stories making the headlines on the front page of the Daily Times. Africa losing $50 billion to corrupt leaders. That's coming from the FCC.
That's too bad. Very bad. Yeah, I don't know what we have to do again about this corruption issue. In Nigeria, the main thing that made people to even vote for our president is because he said he would fight corruption. And we have all been seeing how far they have gone. If all African leaders, not just leaders, both followers, leaders, if you want to be sincere, corruption is not just in the exalted offices, it is everywhere. And if we don't get rid of corruption right inside us individually, before we talk about getting rid of it collectively, then we won't get anywhere. And that has been what is drawing Africa.
All right, we have the Punch newspaper now. Let's run to the Punch as the final paper for this morning. On the front page of the Punch, the big story, I am under pressure to release ministerial lists, says Buhari. I will only appoint persons known to me. That's coming from the president. Lawan denies saying lists will be submitted this week. We also have, on top of the story there, poor Nigerians increased from 86 to 98 million in 10 years. That's coming from the United Nations Development Program. Police arraigned 38 charges for criminal conspiracy, rioting. We have Nigerian lawmakers, police judges most corrupt, says Transparency International. National Assembly kicks reports not based on scientific method. That's coming from the Senate. I am under pressure to release ministerial lists, says Buhari. I will only appoint persons known to me. He was actually saying in details there in the story that the people he worked with in his first 4 years of government were not people he trusted, were not people he can give directions to. And at this time, he is ready to appoint people that he knows, people that he can work with. And we know that it took him 6 months to agree or maybe come up with that last list. How do we balance this? Should we say that he's admitting failure in his first government or term because he couldn't work with his ministers?
I wouldn't say he couldn't work with his ministers, because he has the right to get rid of anyone he is not comfortable with.
Through the 3 years,
yeah? He has that right. So I wouldn't say he didn't work or he couldn't work well with the ministers. But I wouldn't equally blame people that are clamoring for him to present a new list or whatever. Because since May 29th, he was sworn in for the second term. We are now in July. At least people are waiting. People are eagerly waiting to know exactly. It's not just about the masses. Those people that has been loving, and they all want to know exactly who made it and who doesn't make it.
Who didn't make it. I can just remember, before we go, Ebonyi State, where the governor said, opened application for people who want to be commissioners and SSAs. And he said he had 10,000 people applying. That would tell you, will I call it unemployment or a level of desperation to serve in governance? All right, thank you, Mrs. Rose Orania, for joining us this morning to review the papers. That's how far we'll go on this segment. Stay with us as we look at our main theme for the day.